A lot of things to talk about this week, including Swisher's Sway, Logofonts, YouTube Shorts, Pottymouth Patagonia, Facebook New, no YouTube multitasking, some cool tools, some smiles, and we top it off with some stats about virtual reality use that you want to stick around for at the end of the show. Everybody needs money. Everybody likes money. Everybody likes to get paid. And it looks like Travis Scott is getting paid. So there is I just noticed a McDonald's commercial running this week featuring Travis Scott, the Travis Scott meal. It's a 30-second spot that features the rapper as a stop-motion action figure. He's jumping around on a McDonald's tray, so he lands on the tray, and he talks about his Travis Scott his McDonald's Travis Scott meal. Really, it's just the same meal that they've been serving for years, for time immemorial. Quarter pounder, bacon cheeseburger with fries and a drink. You know, they just renamed it. But the animation style. So it's stop motion animation. It's an extension of his 90210 music video, which is itself a direct ripoff of Seth Green's stop motion action figure style for his Robot Chicken show. So we'll embed the videos in the show notes so people can see the comparisons and the direct correlation. But also, it struck me that how do you shoot commercials during a pandemic where you can't have bring a crew together and shoot commercials the way you usually did? Stop motion animation seems like a good option.
The perfect option. Yeah, I saw that ad, but since I don't eat at McDonald's and I'm not a Travis Scott fan, I didn't get too excited. But it is a great way to do advertising, and stop motion animation is a wonderful invention. Yeah. So this week, Snapchat rolled out a whole bunch of voting tools, including a feature allowing you to register to vote directly in Snapchat. And more than half of the users who registered through Snapchat actually voted in 2018. And that is really cool. It's just great news. So the user base is broadly encompasses people under the age of 30. And they haven't even rolled out their bigger promotions. They're going to do more, like the one with former President Barack Obama, encouraging young people to register to vote on Snapchat. And other politicians like Ohio Governor John Kasich and celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Arnold Schwarzenegger are also going to appear in Snapchat public service announcements. And Twitter is introducing an election hub also that will provide real-time voting and election information and breaking election related news. And the hub, it will appear at the top of the Explore tab for the US. It's already there for US users, and it'll have Twitter moments from reputable news outlets. And its curation team is in English and Spanish, live streams of debates and other major events, and a tool that shows candidates in a user's state and the local news from your state. So social media is getting very heavily involved in the elections in ways that differ from Facebook, which we'll talk about later.
What I hope is that everybody, I think mainstream media is clued into this, but I hope the social media channels do this as well, is framing it not as election night,
right,
but framing it as election month is really the way it should
election
be framed.
Era.
Because it's not, I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that a bunch of Trump voters go in and vote in person on November 3rd, and then all Biden voters, a bunch of Biden voters, are vote by mail, and they don't come in right on election night.
Well, it's already in Twitter. It's already on Snapchat. There's a tremendous number of public service announcements having people plan their votes. So I think that it's not going to be, I think everybody's prepared for the fact that it's not going to be election night results like we're used to.
I hope so. I mean, you can absolutely take advantage of the framing of that and expectations and just say, oh, I won. No need to count those extra ballots. Those don't count.
God help us.
Because that's going to happen. Anyway, This is fantastic. This is from My Modern Met. Sarah Barnes wrote about a designer named Emmanuel Abrate, I believe is how it's pronounced, who has a project called Logofonts. You love this, BL. This is actually an Instagram account that he has, that he reveals the fonts that are used in some of the biggest brands, Nike, Spotify, YouTube, among them, and demonstrates how they're used by putting them in the context of the logo itself. So there's a Starbucks logo that has, Starbucks logo has the name Starbucks on it, but instead of that, it's the name of the font. So you see it in context of the logo itself. It's great. Twitter uses Pico font. USA Today uses Futura. Target uses Helvetica. Adobe and Shopify use Myriad. And it just goes down the list. You can just scroll through this and check them out. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes so people can check it out. It's very well done.
Oh, I love that. My family had a typography business. And so I grew up, looking at type books and handling hot type back when that was the way it happened. And, I'm a big type person, and I've been so disappointed by the use of type on the internet. So maybe this will help. The type on the internet is so freaking boring. But other good news is that Kara Swisher is going to have a podcast via the New York Times, and it's called Sway. And it's all about power and influence. It starts on September 21st. It'll be twice a week. And she will be investigating power, who has it, who's been denied it, and who dares to defy it. And she will interview, everybody who's anybody, as she's always done. Since her days at the Wall Street Journal with Walt Mossberg. And it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And you can also listen on the Times site. But I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, she's just really such a great interviewer and has such wonderful insights. And, this is good news.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. She's all of the above, and she's smart. She has smart questions, and she knows enough to do the follow-up properly as well, which is often missing in interviews with people. So can't wait for that. I think we're probably not going to be able to get it on TikTok, because that's being banned on Sunday. So everybody's rolling out their own clones now. Instagram has its Reels, and now YouTube has officially launched its clone called Shorts. This is from the Next Web's Napier Lopez, who writes about it. Officially called Shorts. It's a short form video feature. It'll be within the main YouTube app. It includes video creation tools that are similar to what you'll find on TikTok and Reels. They're rolling it out in India right now as a beta. Each short will be 15 seconds long or less. You can string multiple clips together, and the biggest asset, I think, is the vast music library that YouTube has that they'll be able to leverage to include in as background songs for the shorts. There'll be a timer and a countdown when you when you can start filming. You can control your recording speed. There's some creative options, and we don't have access to it because we're not in India. So
yeah, but it's coming soon, and
I can imagine.
Yeah, I think it comes first to creators. And then a thousand subscribers and up, or maybe 10,000 and up, is how they usually do these launches. But I'll have it right away because of Tickies. So yeah, they're talking about it, but we can't see it. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait. So this is Patagonia has long been a forthright brand about issues in the world, and this is from an Ad Age story by Adrienne Pasquarelli, who has this wonderful Twitter handle. She likes to shop. But anyway, Patagonia has labels in their shorts for men and women that say "Vote the assholes out." And apparently these were discovered in the tags of several Patagonia garments. So a spokeswoman for Patagonia noted that the founder of the company, Yvonne Chouinard, has been talking about voting the assholes out for years. And by assholes, he means politicians from any party who deny or disregard the climate crisis and ignore science. So the spokeswoman also said that the tags are added to a 2020 collection of men's and women's, I love this name, Regenerate Organic Stand-Up Shorts, because we've been standing up to climate deniers for almost as long as we've been making these shorts. And so besides the shorts, Patagonia has a site has resources on its site for anybody who wants to vote for those who support climate change. It's called There, and it represents a tamer statement. It says, vote the climate deniers out of office. But, what a good thing for a lot of companies are stepping up to the plate, and I love this one.
My initial reaction to seeing that story was, well, if you're going to take a strong political stand as a brand, that's about the safest strong political stand you can take, because it's in the eye of the beholder. Assholes
exactly.
I can be a Trump supporter and
everybody else is an asshole.
Exactly. So it is interesting that I didn't know the backstory of the climate denier, climate crisis reason for the labels. That's good. I'm done with good stuff.
Me too. I'm on to bad news. Okay. This is BuzzFeed obtained this week the 6,600 word internal memo from a former Facebook data scientist. And she exposes how Facebook knew specific examples of global political manipulation with fake accounts. They knew and they failed to act. They turned a blind eye to it. So the memo was written by Sophie Zhang, and it's filled with concrete examples of heads of government and political parties in Azerbaijan and Honduras using fake accounts and misrepresenting themselves to sway public opinion. She was fired from her job in August. She was sort of a junior person. And she said she didn't want her report to go public for fear of disrupting Facebook's efforts to prevent problems around the 2020 election. And she had concerns for her own safety, which is why BuzzFeed didn't publish her report. But they published parts of it, and it's clearly in the public interest that they did that. As a whistleblower, she points to the fact that Facebook has no real mechanism to gauge how much of a grip the company has on its own infinitely vast platform. And that's the real issue. Facebook is so big. And she said she, as a junior person, was often forced to intervene on matters of international importance because she said, well, Facebook didn't really care and it was left to her and she had a conscience. And she said that she turned down a $64,000 severance package to avoid signing a non-disparagement agreement. And that allowed her to speak out internally. And she used that freedom to reckon with the power she had to police political speech. And she wrote that she was just 6 months into the job when she found coordinated inauthentic behavior and Facebook's internal team for the use of multiple fake accounts that were boosting engagement or spreading content benefiting the Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez. And her LinkedIn profile said she worked as a data scientist for the Facebook site integrity fake engagement team and dealt with bots influencing elections and so forth. And she said she considered herself to be put in an impossible spot, caught between her loyalties to the company and her loyalties to the world as a whole. And she said, the last thing I want to do is distract from our efforts for the upcoming US elections. Yet I know this post will likely do so internally. I know I have blood on my hands by now, she said, because of the things she did while she was there. And, Facebook projects this image of strength and competence to the outside world. But the reality is that many of their actions, she says, are really slapdash and haphazard accidents. And she and her colleagues removed, this is mind-blowing, 10.5 million fake reactions and fans from high-profile politicians in Brazil and the US in the 2018 elections. And Facebook basically doesn't deny her findings. They only said that the issues she found, however significant, were less pressing than the many other issues that the civic integrity team was policing at the time. I wonder what those are.
Yeah, Facebook doesn't know what it is anymore because the code is writing itself essentially. I mean, the problem when you get into that complexity of artificial intelligence is you can't untangle it and know what to fix or what's broken because you can't decipher what's going on.
And she also says that, unfortunately, the ultimate decisions are all Mark Zuckerberg, and they don't get to him until they're an awful big mess. And, she said it is an awful big mess. And, it's been proven and reported on over and over that Russia is right at this moment interfering with the election, and that, Facebook is allowing stuff going on there that other social platforms are banning. And, if Facebook were a country, I believe it would be the largest one in the world.
It is a national algorithmic safety board that goes in when there's a mess regarding algorithms, goes in and deciphers the code and says what's broken, like we have for air safety, to determine what caused an airline crash. Basically the same thing, but for algorithms. Because
but then it already happened. The problem already happened.
Well, but you need to figure out what went wrong to fix it, right? And we're not figuring out what went wrong at all. So
yeah, that's the problem.
So there's that. Anyway, blessed be the whistleblowers is all I say to that.
Yeah.
This is not nearly as bad. This is from a Verge story by Jay Peters, and he discovered that iOS 14's new feature, the picture-in-picture mode that Apple's new operating system has, lets you watch a video in a small window while you're doing other things on your phone. It looks like YouTube has stopped those videos from playing when picture-in-picture mode is activated, unless you're a YouTube Premium subscriber.
Oh, come on.
You can watch the picture-in-picture mode if the video is embedded on a website, or if you're a Premium subscriber, then it works, but not if you're a free user. It could be a bug. I mean, it could be, conceivably. It could also be a way of preserving the value of video ads, which I suspect it is, because, of course, if you're watching a YouTube video and you go picture-in-picture mode, then that video gets infinitely smaller on a very small screen, and that the ads that play in that small screen are pretty much useless because it's so small.
Well, YouTube has some rather daunting rules. I mean, on YouTube, a view for an ad is 30 seconds, meaning you got to watch the whole thing. And, on other platforms, it's 10 seconds. So
it's 3 seconds on Facebook.
It's how much? 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's more like it, But yeah, so you really have to have huge volume to make money on YouTube. And there are people who do, of course. But
on to cool stuff or shiny new stuff. So this isn't shiny or new, but it is something I haven't talked about before, so I'll do it now. This is the Facebook Pixel Helpers. I've been working on a client's website, implementing some social media advertising, and in order to do that, you install the Facebook Pixel. And most people just install the base Pixel, and be done with it. But there are things that you can do to get it to trigger, like when somebody buys something or somebody clicks on a submit button or something. You can track those and create audiences out of that. Make Facebook much more effective for your advertising. But the Facebook Pixel Helper is a Chrome extension that you can install to help you figure out whether you're doing it correctly when you're installing these more custom installations of the Facebook Pixel. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes for people who are interested in that.
That's very cool. Well, this past week, Vimeo got more pro-friendly, and that makes a lot of sense because Vimeo really is more of a pro platform. But they redesigned their profile pages, and so professional videographers can now have their contact information right on their page, clearly displayed, and you can customize video sections and add a client module to show off your experience. But what's really cool about what they did is that all the editing and previewing now happens on the same page. So you don't have to dig through, to a setting and make changes and then come back. So they made it very simple. And I think that I wish every app would do it that way. Really? So do you have another?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
This is from Search Engine Journal's Roger Monti. And Google has a new service or tool or offering. It's from Google's Area 120 kind of skunkworks division.
They do great things.
Yeah, it's called Fundo, Google Fundo. It is an online service that allows video creators to sell tickets to private events. It's basically an end-to-end solution. Everything happens on the site, so you don't have to download an app. Users don't have to download an app, but you can create I signed up for it. The sign up is very easy. It connects to your YouTube channel. And you can now create events that you can charge for, video events that you can charge for. There's 3 types of events. The first type is one-to-one chats plus photos. So you can charge for basically one-to-one chats, and then the plus photos is a feature where you can basically have a virtual photo booth to take pictures of the person that you're chatting with together. So it's kind of like an influencer tool, I think, where celebrities can use it to have an event with a single individual, and rather than like a book signing, maybe, rather than signing the book in person, you meet the author, you can chat with them one-on-one and get a virtual photo taken with it. It's more consumerish that way. The second type of event is meet and greets. So this is like the one-to-one events, but more people.
I like that.
And then the third type is workshops, and this is basically webinars that you can charge for, and you can invite as many people as you want, presumably, but it could be, you and I could do something with small business owners and helping them figure out what they want to do with their online presence, for example. The security is sound, apparently, according to Fundo. There's no way for the uninvited guest to crash a Fundo event. The events are ticketed, so only one person per ticket can join. And the price, it's free. But I haven't gotten far enough I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know what the transaction fee is for these. I suspect there is one, so I don't know what it is, but it looks interesting. It is Google, so it could be gone, 2 weeks from now.
Usually they wait till you're really into it before they take it away. Oh, millions of people are using it. Let's end it. Well, Zoom now has a feature that's kind of cool. They let you drag and drop people in the gallery view, so you can put them in any order that you want. So you can put your speaker, there's a lot of times when there's a lot of people in there and the speaker's over on the third screen. And so you can put people where you want them to. And I think that's a really wonderful feature. And then the other thing that certainly isn't new, but new to me, is Journalist Toolbox. And it's a free, it's a free twice monthly newsletter, and it's got a lot of tips and tricks and resources, and it's got training videos for professionals, but the information there is really great for anybody, and lots of really good things.
Yeah, that's really great. The Zoom edition is good too. It's definitely needed. All right, I got a pro tip. I've been for past month or so working on a website redesign, fairly big project, and when you do that and you spend that much time working on something, whenever you do a website redesign, you need to have other eyes on it, right? You need to.
For sure.
So my pro tip is along each step of the way in the development or the redesign process, you should have a fresh set of eyes. The developer knows the site inside and out. The designer knows the site inside and out. And as a result, you can just get blind to things. You can just not see things because you're so in the weeds with it. But having other developers look at it who are not involved in the project helps with the technical aspect of it. Having customers or users of the site look at it who have never seen it before are going to bring up a lot of different things that you're not going to notice. So just having a fresh set of eyes along each step of the way is a best practice.
And also having people who know nothing about the subject look at it
Yeah.
and make sure that it's really clear, because that's what happens to us. You get so involved in it, you just think that everybody will get it, and they don't.
So let's wrap this up. Weekly numbers. This is from Nielsen. The pandemic has had a effect on a lot of us for a lot of various reasons, including media consumption. And for those of us, not myself not included, but those of us who have VR headsets, this is some stats on how people are actually using that in the wake of the pandemic. Roughly 7 in 10, 71% of people who have virtual reality headsets have spent more time using their device as a result of COVID-19. Not surprisingly at all. It is, but you think of it as a solitary activity. But there's apps called VR Chat and Rec Room that are among the most popular VR apps on computers, and these are virtual social spaces. So it's not just a solitary activity. But I thought that was interesting, if not surprising.
What fun!
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have expected that to be something that was done in a group.